Hello, everyone, and welcome to, I don't know, we're just gonna call it some Season 23 draft prep. Using some different music in the background. If it's annoying, sorry, just trying something new out. Anyways, so I was sitting here and I was looking at this list of Pokemon here that I'm sure everyone has spent some time looking at. And my question is, are there mons that have been overlooked? So what I decided to do is I decided to focus on these high-level mons, these guys in blue here. These are theoretically the Pokemon that you're going to build your whole team around. You're going to base a lot of what you're doing off of these guys. So I wanted to see, I pulled this list here, not this one, that's spoilers. So this is those tiers, specifically over the last 3 seasons in both the North and the South. These are all the Pokemon that weren't taken in those drafts. I compiled it into this list, which allowed me to pull the information and make this list. So these are all of those Pokemon in those tiers and how many times they have not been taken. How many times they appear on this list. And these 4 are the ones we're going to focus on. These are the Pokemon that through 6 drafts over the past, all through, because we did 6 drafts in 2024 between the North and the South. And I guess I should zoom in here. There we go. These guys overlooked 6 times. Now, does it have something to do with their cost? Probably, but we're not going to fix that today. I am here to try to tell you why they're good Pokemon that you should be looking at. So we're going to head over to the team builder. And we're just going to start up here at the top. If I can figure out how to do that. There we go. We're on the team builder. Yeah, this actually looks good. So I'm just going to start running through. We're going to start talking about the reasons you should be looking at these guys. Number 1, surprisingly, we have here is Garchomp. One of the leading KO getters in the history of the league. I mean, mostly known as a Dakota Pokemon. But this Pokemon has gotten some serious upgrades in the past couple of seasons and somehow been overlooked greatly. So the big upgrade is Loaded Dice and Scale Shot. The SD Sweeper is better than it's been in literally any generation. They've never given Swords Dance to Garchomp, or sorry, Dragon Dance to Garchomp. And now it has a move that can help it bypass that in Scale Shot. You can set up a Swords Dance and Scale Shot, get that speed boost. Now you're going to outspeed everything. And with Loaded Dice, Scale Shot is guaranteed to hit at least 4 times. So that is a 100 base power move. 90 accuracy, granted. And you get the defense drop. Hopefully that shouldn't matter because with this set, you really need to make sure that priority is out of the way by the time that you're going to try to set up and win. I put Iron Head on here. These first 3 moves, these are going to be kind of required. Does he get high horsepower? That's one thing I wanted to check, because one of the ways that you'd probably edit this, depending on your matchup, is if there was grassy terrain, you obviously wouldn't want to run Earthquake. Stomping Tantrum, I guess, is what you'd have to run if you're going against a grassy terrain team. But I'm getting an ad in the middle of my music, so let me see if I can fix that. There we go. Yeah, so this is the moveset you're mostly going to want to run. Earthquake, Scale Shot, Swords Dance, those are givens. Iron Head, you can also put Poison Jab, Stone Edge, Fire Fang. Whatever here you need to deal with another random Pokemon on the team. Heck, you can put Fire Blast if there's a Skarmory or something. Just try to get past it that way. I think this is a really good set. This is a set that's going to get you 3-4 kills at the end of a game once you've got the requisite things out of the way. Think this is a great set that I'd love to see somebody pull out. Now, granted, how much does Garchomp cost? 17. Honestly, one of the cheaper options on this list. I think potential steal that people should be looking at, because also you get in that Tank Chomp. Classic set. The great thing about Tank Garchomp, now granted, I made this one super bulky just to kind of like maximize how many hits it can take. And you see, I have 29% written here. That's because every time this guy takes a physical hit due to Rocky Helmet and Rough Skin, he's dealing 29% to an opponent. Which I think is massive. You could, like, with this defense, you're definitely going to be taking 2 hits. The other benefit to it is it's so bulky, you don't need to dump so much into defense. You can take a little bit off, and you can speed creep with this speed set. 102 speed is going to allow you to stay ahead of, like, probably stuff in the 80s a lot of the time if you just, like, EV it right. And then you also have Dragon Tail to stop people from setting up on you, because you're a little bit more passive, but with 130 attack, not too much of a concern. Earthquake strong as ever. And then also, you're going to be in so many turns and forcing so many switches. Let's get up as many hazards as we can. This spot for spikes used to be toxic back in the day. It doesn't get toxic anymore. But you could swap out Stealth Rock if you have another rocker on your team. Or if you only care about getting up the rocks and you don't want to bother with the spikes. There's a lot of little tweaks you can make to this to make it fit what you need on your team. I think this is probably the best iteration. Some people might want to throw Rest on there to get some longevity out of this. If you have a Chansey or a Blissey, something, I think those are the only 2 mons that get Heal Bell on your team. I guess go for it. I don't think it's the best like use of a move slot. But I really do think that this is another great set. On top of that, nothing flashy here. Nothing fancy. This is Scarf Chomp. You just slap a Choice Scarf on this guy. He's going to outspeed the majority of your opponent's team. Having a 102 Scarfer is also great because if you're not worried about like Scarfers in the 90 range, you could probably drop this down to Adamant and really put the hurt on. Earthquake, Outrage, or Dragon Claw if you don't want to get locked in. Outrage is more of a late game sweeping situation. But then so much adjustment you can do. You can do Stone Edge, Fire Fang, Poison Jab, Iron Head to deal with fairies. Also, since you're going to be forcing switches, you could put Stealth Rock or Spike on there and get up a couple layers. So that's it for Garchomp. At 17 points, I really do think it's something that a lot of teams are going to want to be able to build around. And it hasn't been taken in a long time, so this is the time to kind of look at it. Moving on to another Pokemon that's going to force a lot of switches is we've got Greninja. Greninja also got some upgrades, and it's been overlooked. I don't remember it having Sludge Wave in the past. I just feel like I always saw it running Gunk Shot, which we'll talk a little bit about as we go. But Protean, I think people are probably looking away from it because of the Protean nerf. But I really do think that this Pokemon still has a lot to offer. Like from both an offensive and defensive perspective, we'll get to that later, the defensive. But Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, Sludge Wave, Dark Pulse. Great coverage to hit a lot of things, and that doesn't even go into some of the things like Grass Knot and Extra Sensory. If you want to go mixed, you have Low Kick, Night Slash, Ice Punch, and Gunk Shot is somewhere on this list. And U-Turn, Trailblaze, I can't see you doing in most situations. But this thing has a fantastic, both physical and special move pool. Granted, physical attack is only 85. I think it used to get Swords Dance. Does it still get Swords Dance? Swords Dance. I don't see it on here. Oh no, there it is. And also Shadow Sneak. Another option, like just having like some priority around. Yeah, I mean, I know we're talking about the choice spec set, but just the special moves that you can run on this give it a lot of versatility. And the fact that it's going to get stab on whatever it does. The Protean nerf here doesn't hurt it at all because you're only clicking one move every time you're out anyways. So you're always just going to have stab on whatever you click, right? So I think just such a big benefit. This mon's great from this perspective. You also have its new thing, Battle Bond. I put Expert Belt here. I have railed against Life Orb for a long time, and I still don't think it's great. I do think this is one of the times you'd want to consider Life Orb on a Pokemon, especially if you're running like the mixed set. You can swap out Dark Pulse for Gunk Shot. Because for those of you who aren't aware, Battle Bond no longer changes you into Ash Greninja. It gives you a +1 to attack, special attack, and speed. So it unfortunately only does it once per battle, so it is kind of a late game like gambit, so to speak. Once you get your KO, you're going to get boosted. You're going to try to sweep after that. Life Orb might be best to do that if you're specifically focusing on a late game sweep, because that point your HP doesn't matter, right? HP doesn't matter too much on this. You're not going to be like meaning to take a lot of hits, but this is an option you can go. Also want to put Water Shuriken on here. Multi-hit priority move. I wouldn't bother with loaded dice really on this, just because I don't think that it is worth it. I can't think of a time that like getting 4 hits on a Water Shuriken, which would come out to like what, 60 base power as a priority move. I don't think that is too helpful, and I can't think of a lot of other multi-hit moves it gets, so I wouldn't bother on that. But Battle Bond Greninja, not to be undersold. So this one says lead options. This is not a set you'd want to run, but it is a great lead Pokemon. It gets both spikes and toxic spikes. You could put either of those 2 moves on the Choice Spec set also, since you're probably going to be forcing some switches. Also, I neglected to mention U-Turn on here. U-Turn is another move you should consider on the Choice Spec set. But also like U-Turn, Taunt, Spikes. We talked about like other coverage moves it gets, like Extra Sensory, Haze, Gunk Shot, Switcheroo even could go on the Choice Spec set. And then if you're running a weather team or against weather, you could throw Weather Ball on here and get like some really powerful hits off. Greninja is the hardest to pin down, and like Garchomp's super easy to say, hey, these are the move sets you should run, because it's tried and tested. I mean, when did Diamond and Pearl come out? Like what, 2006? The game's been out closing in on 20 years. We know what it does. Greninja's been around close to 10 years, but between bans and changes to Protean and additions of Battle Bond, it's really kind of gone under a lot of changes, and we haven't seen it a lot in Draft League, and I think now is the time to do it. So after that, we're going to move on to Kommo-o. Kommo-o is probably the Pokemon that is most problematic with its cost. That is, I think, it's something that may be overlooked, but that's what I thought initially. But after looking through here, I see why it costs as much as it does. I could have listed 3 or 4 more sets on top of the 3 that I've made here. So first of all, I'm calling it the Make Some Noise set. This is the Throat Spray, Clangor Soul, Clang Scales, Boom Burst, and Flamethrower. This could be swapped out for any number of special moves that you would prefer in this spot. I went with Flamethrower because I do think it's the most broadly applicable move. So, for those of you who don't know, Clangor Soul, sound-based move. You lose a third of your HP, and you get a +1 to all of your stats. That, by itself, is a pretty good setup move. On top of that, it activates Throat Spray, so you actually get a +2 to your special attack. You get +1 from Clangor Soul, +1 from Throat Spray, and now you're hitting very hard. That's better than a Quiver Dance. It's like a Nasty Plot plus a Quiver Dance plus like a Bulk Up, all in one move at the cost of a third of your HP. So, really, like that's a really good setup move in and of itself, and we're gonna make better use of this in later sets. You got Clanging Scales. This is a really powerful special move, special dragon move that doesn't really. The drawback is losing at defense 1 stage, but like talking about Scale Shot on Garchomp a couple sets ago, like once you're boosted up, this doesn't matter too much. You're gonna get 2 or 3 KOs before it matters, because somebody then might come and pick you off with a priority move, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. And then Boom Burst. Boom Burst is such a strong move. 140 base power. If you could Terra on this, it'd be even scarier. Boom Burst is so strong. It's so good. And then Flamethrower, this is really just to hit steel types that are going to resist your other moves. If you wanted to put Aura Sphere on here, you absolutely could. I don't think you'd be missing out on too much there. Like Flamethrower is a little bit stronger and still going to hit super effective, but you're also going to get Stab from Aura Sphere. Could hit steel type super effective. I do think Flamethrower is the generally better coverage move. Now, this is not a super like fast Pokemon out the gate, not a strong Pokemon out the gate, but decent defenses. You're going to have opportunities to set up Clangor Soul, especially if you build your team around this Mon. And that's not even to say anything. Geez, so many fucking ads in this video. Okay, sorry, I keep getting distracted. That's not even saying anything of all of the abilities here. Bulletproof, immune to bullet moves. That's Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb, Focus Blast. Probably another one I'm not thinking of. Soundproof. This means it's immune to Roar, Hyper Voice, Boom Burst of its like a Boom Burst from another type of Pokemon. And then Overcoat. This doesn't come up as much, but like immune to Effect Spore and Spore alone, I think are pretty good. And then the fact that it can be any of these and your opponent doesn't know, they kind of have to guess. There's probably only going to be one, maybe two abilities that are applicable to a given matchup. But your opponent not knowing and you being able to kind of customize it. These are 3 useful abilities. I think you should have, like, that you're going to find a week in a 9-week season. 9 week? Yeah, no, it's 7-week season. In a 7-week season, you're still probably going to find an opportunity to use all 3 of these, depending on your matchup. After that, we have a set that I learned about on the Smogon page, but I had never really thought about it. I actually think it's a really cool set. Again, kind of this is matchup dependent, but I really think it's great. This one called the Low Key set, because it's kind of a sound thing, right? It makes some noise, and then Low Key. This is a little less flashy. Logan, you can tell me if that's what low key means. Low key in that sense does, but low key in the musical sense means something different, and I don't know what it is. So this is a kind of a bulkier setup set. This EV spread is something you would need to adjust for sure to take certain hits, but Clangorous Soul, Taunt, and Drain Punch are the crux of this set. Clangorous Soul, you get the boost, you get bulkier, you get stronger, you get faster. Taunt is going to be able to stop Haze, Whirlwind, Toxic, Thunder Wave, keep you healthy, and then you're just going to be able to Drain Punch HP back. Thunder Punch, this could be whatever, this could be whatever you need it to be. This could be Thunder Punch, this could be Ice Punch, this could be Iron Head, Poison Jab, Fire Punch, Earthquake, Throat Chop, X Scissor, Rock Slide. This could be whatever you think is going to be the most appropriate for your set. But this is just get stronger, get bulkier, get faster with Clangorous Soul. Stay healthy with Drain Punch. Taunt to prevent yourself from being statused or phased out or hazed. And then whatever coverage move you want. I think this really has the potential to really kind of snowball on some teams. And if you find the right opportunity, this can be unbeatable. This is a Pokemon that this set sets up on Toxapex because you can taunt it so it can't haze or toxic you, and then you can just Clangorous Soul, and then you can Thunder Punch it, or you can Drain Punch. Yeah, you're not going to get a lot back because it's going to resist, but it also can't do anything to you. What's it like? Because you can go Bulletproof. If it's got Sludge Bomb for some reason, you can take that hit. You won't get you're immune to that, and then Liquidation or Scald. Those are your biggest concerns, I guess. Actually, no, it doesn't have Scald anymore, does it? I don't think it got Scald back. I can't recall. But I think this is a legitimately good set. After that, we've got Belly Drum. So Belly Drum is very similar to the Garchomp set. You could put I put Loaded Dice on here because I think it's probably the more exciting option, but you could put Citrus Berry on there. Just to kind of like ensure a little bit more health after Belly Drum. But you got Drain Punch to get a whole bunch of HP back, Scale Shot to get the speed boost, Poison Jab, again, this could be whatever coverage move you want. I put Bulletproof just because I think a Choicemon is more likely going to be locked into a bullet/bomb type move, Sludge Bomb, Shadow Ball, Focus Blast. You could probably get a setup opportunity, right? I think this is an awesome set. There's so many I didn't even talk about. There's like you could do an Iron Defense Body Press set. You could do a Choice Spec set with like Vacuum Wave. This is such a customizable Pokemon. Between its fantastic coverage, its varied stats, like there's no bad stat in here. Its worst stat is its HP at 75, which is kind of just like maybe a little bit below average. Speed is below average, but all of its defenses and offenses are 100 or higher. You're going to get setup opportunities with this. Does it still get Stealth Rock even? Hold on. Not that that's like a... Yeah, you can get Stealth Rock. You could run this as like... you get a lot of utility out of this as well. For real, consider this Pokemon. I think you're going to be really surprised. After that, we have a Pokemon that I'm really shocked hasn't been taken. We've got Manaphy. Manaphy, I think people are put off by the fact that it doesn't have access to Take Heart, but Manaphy was a top tier draft selection for many seasons, even before it had Take Heart, and it hasn't lost any things that made it what it is. So here we have the classic Tailglow set. I put Wakanberry on there. That'll just give, like, this could be literally anything. I don't think there's any downside. You could do Mystic Water, Wakanberry, Rindo Berry, depending on if you want to take a certain hit to try to set up. Even Leftovers is very good here. So the idea of this set is Tailglow and then use whatever coverage. Surf you're likely going to have unless you want to go Hydro Pump, which is a little ballsy for my taste. But Energy Ball to hit other water types. Alluring Voice can hit dragon types. You also have access to things like Ice Beam to hit grass types. You're not going to use knockoff, so let's ignore that. But Shadow Ball is just general good coverage. Psychic to hit something super effective like a Toxapex. I think those are probably the biggest things on here. There's still a lot of things you can do. Heart Swap is an interesting thing. I didn't put it on any of these sets, but Heart Swap could kind of be a cool thing if anyone can find a way to use that. This one is specifically for a rain team. Functions a lot the same, but you're swapping out a spot for rest. The idea here is if something's going to wall you, or you take a lot of damage, or you get statused, you switch into your Pelipper or Politoed or whatever, you get up the rain. Next time you bring in Manaphy, while the rain is up, you can rest, get back up to full HP, Hydration's going to activate, and you're going to wake back up, so it'll be like a full restore on Manaphy, and you can go again. Just a renewable resource of a Manaphy. You're not going to get as good of coverage, but I think the rain boosted surfs that you're going to be able to dish out very consistently are going to help. After that, there's a Take Heart set that was on the site that I liked, but this is obviously a little bit riskier because it's not Take Heart. You could get Toxic, you could get what's the other word? You could get Toxic, you could get Paralyzed. This could really set you back. But against the right team, Calm Mind, Acid Armor, Stored Power, Scald it can definitely sweep. If you can prevent things from hazing or toxicking you, then you're going to have a really good time with this set. After one Acid Armor and one Calm Mind, Stored Power's base power is going to be, I want to say, 120? Plus you're going to be +1 from the Calm Mind. You're going to be nigh unkillable with those defenses. And you're like this spread is really just, you're going to customize this to be what you need it to be, right? You're probably not even going to go special attack. You're probably going to put that a little bit into speed and a little bit into your defenses somewhere, probably with like a bold nature, right? Something like that. Except with all the stats used. So, and Manaphy's another Pokemon where I could have made more sets, like Flip Turn, Baton Pass on this. You could go Tailglow, Baton Pass. There's nothing stopping you from doing that with Manaphy. You could go Screens. It's going to have the option to do that. You could set up your own rain and go, like, I almost made like if you know what a Crocoon is, you could do like Rest, Sleep Talk, Scald, Calm Mind. And Manaphy can pull it off, and it's even more effective on a rain team. If you're thinking rain team, don't overlook Manaphy, for sure. Yeah, I think that's probably all I want to talk about here. These are 4 Pokemon. I could probably have done these for the Pokemon that were only taken 5 times, but there were a lot more of those, and I think those reasons why those have not been taken are pretty, I think well documented. But I implore you to take a look at these Pokemon because I think they're good. Looking forward to everyone drafting. Thank you for being patient and waiting till the first. We had a lot of people who were kind of reticent to jump back into the season. I think a little bit of burnout's happening. So thank you for being respectful of them. But looking forward to another great season, ready to go. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.